Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of WWE NXT's No Mercy Premium Live event. It is an annual tradition now, late September event for the NXT brand. We also had some news coming out of the show in addition to the matches. Let's go ahead and discuss everything that went down on NXT. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I very much appreciate your viewership and support. Now, we opened up the match with a fun one. We had Javon Evans going up against Josh Briggs. We had just seen Javon Evans on SmackDown against Sami Zayn. 24 hours later, back in the ring again. It was a really good opener match. Javon Evans is no doubt a future superstar in WWE. He's just so unique. His offense is unique. He does a great job selling. He stands out from the rest of the pack. That is my impression of Javon Evans. And to me, he has a very bright future ahead of him. I figured he would win this one, though, coming off the loss to Zayn, but Briggs still did well, playing the role of the bigger guy, using his power to his advantage. But then Evans did some of his flashy moves, as we've seen in various matches, getting a little bouncy, coming off the ropes, doing the kicks. He delivered a frog splash. Briggs was able to kick out of that, and then Briggs regained the upper hand for a while. But then Evans tried to do a springboard move. Briggs caught him, choke slammed him. That was not enough, though. Evans kept fighting. He stayed in it. He got his foot on the rope when Evans went for a pin attempt. And then Briggs went for another choke slam, but Evans countered it into a cutter. And then Evans came off the top with another cutter. Got the 1-2-3 victory. Nice win for Javon Evans coming off the loss to Sami Zayn. And a strong start to the show. I really enjoyed it. Very good match between the two of these guys. Next up, we had Ruca in a Speed Championship match. Now, Sol had a mystery opponent because her original opponent suffered an injury. And we had the fill-in be Jada Parker. She stepped in. This was a speed match, 5-minute time limit. I will say this now. It was all right, but it should be on TV. This is not a PLE match. Quite frankly, I really don't think we need the speed title at all at this point. It was a nice little gimmick, I guess, for Twitter, trying to draw in some people that don't really follow wrestling. At this point, I see no purpose in the speed title. And it was very fast-paced, of course. They were trying to do all the pin attempts within the short period of time. We had Zarya, who was out on the outside of the ring. Now, Lash Legend showed up at one point, and I don't know what the storyline is, so to me it was just confusing. And Zarya ended up spearing Lash Legend, and then Jada got back in the ring, only to be hit with the Soul Snatcher. 1-2-3, Ruca retains. Didn't care about it too much. I think Ruca's great. Definitely a future superstar on the main roster, but I don't see any need for the title at this point. I say just retire it. Apparently, Lash and Jada were going back and forth for weeks on NXT. Don't care. Had no interest in that. And the match itself was okay, but could have been on TV. We had Jordynne Grace one-on-one with Blake Monroe. And this was a steel cage match, but not any regular steel cage match. This was a weaponized steel cage match. We had a pink steel chair We had a pink kendo stick. We had a bag of goodies, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And they were surrounding the cage, kind of like War Games or one of those TNA cage matches where they'd have the weapons up against the cage. It's a nice little change of pace from the normal cage match. It was good. I think it was good, but after watching All Out, they can't really follow those types of matches. When the women are doing a hardcore match, it just feels like a very watered down version of what we know a hardcore match can be. So it was a very mild hardcore match, if you want to go that far. No blood or anything. You had the kendo stick being used, of course. The chair was used. Grace gave Monroe a spine buster on the cage, not the cage, on the chair. And Grace's thumb was broken apparently in the storyline, so Monroe targeted that. And we got a pair of scissors in the match, but it wasn't what you think it is, sickos. She used the scissors to do what you're supposed to do with scissors. Cut somebody's hair. Monroe cut the hair of Jordynne Grace, and that just pissed off Grace, and that got her angry. She did this avalanche Samoan drop off the top, but then Monroe regained the upper hand and pulled out a bag. And instead of thumbtacks, we had diamonds. So yeah, they used diamonds. We've seen variations of this besides thumbtacks. We've seen the Legos and various other objects over the years. I guess it was something different, but yeah, like I said, very watered down version of a hardcore match. Then they set up a table and both women climbed the cage, but then Monroe threw powder in Grace's face and tried to put her through the table below, but Grace managed to counter that and did the air raid crash off the top, sending Monroe through the table. 1, 2, 3. Grace got the win. It was good. It was a good match, but I don't think I would go beyond that just because of the fact that it was like a PG hardcore cage match, which when you have the right story, that can be great, but it was middle of the show, kind of just there. It was fine. Next up, we had Ethan Page versus Tavion Heights for the North American Championship. This was okay. I think Ethan Page definitely has potential. Tavion Heights, he's got the size, but I just don't feel like he has the character development quite yet for the big leagues. It just felt like Ethan Page trying to carry a rookie to a PLE match. And he did a decent job. I thought the match was solid, but again, didn't feel like a PLE quality match. Could have been something you would watch on a random Tuesday episode of NXT. But Page did well. He got the upper hand for a while, and then he taunted the fans. His ego, you could say, got the best of him, and that allowed Heights to make a little bit of a comeback, and Heights was doing stuff like the ankle lock. Page got to the bottom rope, and then Page did this avalanche power slam, followed by the twisted grin. 1, 2, 3, got the victory, retained the North American Championship. It was decent, but nothing special. Then they had the announcement of WWE NXT versus TNA Wrestling. It will be NXT versus TNA in an Invasion episode of NXT. It's not going to be a PLE. It will be taking place on October 7th, which is a week from this Tuesday. I believe AEW is doing their title Tuesday. Interesting choice to do this on a Tuesday instead of just making it its own PLE, but whatever, it's fine. They're doing 2 Survivor Series matches, so I guess TNA will win one and NXT will win another. But they do have a third match, which will be TNA versus NXT. So I guess that'll be for the bragging rights. We got the Hardys versus Dark State. Winner take all. Winner gets all the titles. Now, that one, I could see TNA potentially getting 2 wins because the Hardys, let's face it, they're WWE legends. So if there's any case for TNA to win 2 out of 3, but it's still kind of a victory for WWE, this would be it. But as far as the Survivor Series NXT versus TNA matches go, I do think that NXT will win one and TNA will win the other. There'll be the men's match, and then there'll be the women's match, and then we're getting the tag match. That is October 7th. Should be fun, but again, I'm a little surprised they're not saving this for a big event. They got Halloween Havoc coming up. That would have been a nice place to do it, although I guess you want to do the Halloween-themed show around Halloween and not wait too long for the Invasion. I get it. And they got the old classic Invasion with the NXT logo. Next up, we had Jacy Jayne with Fallon Henley versus Lola Vice. Now, this show was in Florida, not too far from Lola Vice's hometown of Miami, so she was like the hometown favorite. Her family was at ringside. Her father was there, which, when this happens, typically the hometown hero wins. Let's talk about it. It went back and forth, very competitive match between these two. But as you might expect, you had the interference from Henley on more than one occasion. She got herself involved, and eventually, after Henley pulled the referee out, she was ejected from the ringside area. Match continued, and Vice was doing her submissions. Jayne managed to escape, and then Jayne tried to cheat by using the women's title. However, the referee took away the title, and then Vice hit Jayne with the back fist out of nowhere. But unfortunately for Vice, her own momentum sent her out of the ring, and then a mystery woman attacked her. We don't know who the woman was. And then the referee was counting. Jacy Jayne managed to beat the 10 count because everybody beats the 10 count. And then she immediately got hit with Jacy Jayne's finisher, the rolling encore, and Jacy Jayne got the win, retained the title. Hometown star did not score the victory. It is what it is. I was convinced we were maybe going to get a title change here, but nope. Jacy Jayne, still your women's champion. Match was pretty good. I think it would have been a nice feel-good moment if Vice won, but guess they have other plans. We then had our main event of the evening, Oba Femi versus Ricky Saints. I was almost going to say Ricky Starks. Ricky Saints for the NXT title. And Saints was really struggling to build up momentum in this one. Oba Femi just too big, too mean, delivering all the punishment, choke slamming Starks. Starks got a little bit of offense here and there. But then Femi regained the advantage by countering a spear with the European uppercut. Then Saints recovered from that, hit the spear, but Femi kicked out. And then Saints powerbombed Femi out of the corner, still couldn't get the win. Then they were on the outside of the ring, and Femi tried to put Saints through the announce table, but Saints countered him with a DDT on the table. He then hit another tornado DDT on the floor. He got Femi back in the ring, but then Femi took him out with a chop and then did the fall from Grace powerbomb. But Saints kicked out. Saints was still in it. And then Femi went for another powerbomb, but Saints countered with a third tornado DDT. And then he did a fourth tornado DDT, went for the cover, 1, 2, 3, and is your new WWE NXT champion. I'm surprised, but also not, for two reasons. One, I'm surprised because Femi has been so dominant, but I'm also not surprised because they are building up Saints, number one, and they're trying to make him the face of the brand. And number two, I think it's only a matter of time before Femi gets to the main roster. And, you know, I think it's going to happen sooner than later. So just the fact that they're building up Saints and Femi's main roster bound soon, this was inevitable. I just really didn't think it was going to happen this soon. I figured maybe they would do some sort of controversial finish and then do a rematch, and then Saints would win the title. But there you go. Ricky Saints is your new NXT champion. Another very good match. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. It did feel a little bit flat with that crowd. They were in a very small building for this one. Almost felt like an indie event. I do prefer when they're running in the bigger venues, but you know, it is NXT, so there's only so much they can do as far as drawing the crowds, especially when they're not attached to main roster shows. I think that just the visuals maybe hurt a little bit. And, you know, I have my usual issues with Booker T. Like, I think sometimes he's all right, but other times I find him annoying. To me, there was no real match that stood out as like an all-time classic or even a match of the year contender, but you had some pretty solid matches on the show. I actually think I might have liked the opener the best, even more than the main event, believe it or not. And the cage match was good. And the women's title match, again, good. Not spectacular, though. Same thought process as with the previous shows, where I felt like Femi is a standout. Javon Evans is a standout. Ricky Saints, Ethan Page are guys they're building up. And, Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe as well. And they're building up Lola Vice as well. I mean, those are the standouts. I'd probably go with a 7 out of 10 for this. Pretty good show. But again, far cry from the peak takeover events. And certainly there have been better, I think there have been better NXT shows this year than this one. So it didn't really stand out to me that much, but we did get a world title change, and that was newsworthy. And they did confirm the Invasion show coming up. 7 out of 10 for this one. That's all I got for this recap. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and spread the word about the No DQ channel. No days off for me, always on. The best thing you can do to help out is spread the word. Share a link to this video on social media. Tell your friends, tell your family, anybody you know who watches wrestling. Have them check this out. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. Take care. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.